100 degrees, I'll still consider it.
Yeah, because you know your body temperature comes up about 10 degrees.
Yes, yes. So what's up, guys? How's it going?
So we got Facebook up here. We got YouTube down there.
Oh, double straight
everywhere.
Yes. I'm gonna go on the phone here. So we got our special guests over here. We got Risha and Mr. Drew Davis.
Yes. How you doing?
If you guys follow me on my personal page, you probably see Risha there all the time. She is a good, close personal friend of mine. We're hiking buddies, so we go hiking all the time. You know what? Like everybody and their mama. Two things I always said: fucking hiking and poetry. Everybody's like, oh, let me know next time you go. I want to go with you for sure. This time for reals, and they never fucking show up. Ever.
And
like,
puppet shows. And puppet shows.
Oh yeah, the adult puppet shows, man. Oh, those are awesome. You guys, I gotta invite you guys next time to the other one. I think this time was a little bit last minute, so I didn't get a chance to invite you to the adult puppet show, but it's pretty fucking awesome. But yeah, so I saw that I saw that you started posting on Facebook that you were hiking, and you were hiking right across the street from where I live. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck, let's see if she continued, and she continued hiking, and she continued hiking. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll reach out to her and see if she doesn't mind me joining. Because, as I said, everybody's like, oh, dude, you do poetry? Oh, man, let me come next time for sure. Nobody ever fucking shows up. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, you go hiking? I always see you go hiking. Like, let me know for sure, we'll be there. There's only been, like, 1 or 2 people that have come with us, maybe a few times.
Maybe.
Yes. So anyway, guys, that's kind of how we met, and we are constantly. You know what's great about, and I tell you guys all the time, networking. And networking doesn't specifically mean that you're going to a networking event. It just means that you're connecting with people. So through Facebook, I was able to network with her, and then as we started hiking together. We were mentioning it to Drew, to your husband, how it's kind of like a mastermind, right?
Yeah.
We can't help but talk about business. I mean, we don't know what the fuck else to talk about.
Masterminding on the mountain.
Yeah, we talk about life, we talk about business, we talk about just whatever comes to mind. But most of the time, it ends up right back in business. And what are you doing? How are we working? And then as time progressed. I feel that we've been able to develop a pretty cool friendship, close friendship. I see her more. Drew doesn't really like to get up that early.
Somebody's got to watch the kids, right?
So what we like to do is we like to do sunrise hikes.
Yep.
And right now at this time of the year, it's nicer to go hiking during the day. Not as nice for your sunrise hikes. A, the sunrises are not as nice as they normally are during the summer. B, they happen to be a little bit later. So they have 2 kids.
Yep.
They work from home, but they got 2 kids. So going hiking a little bit later,
that messes the routine.
It was like 7.
But before we were doing it at like 4. We meet at like 4:45, 5 a.m. And then now we'd have to meet at like 7, 6:30 or 7.
And what's great about it is that as you're waking up at that time, you get to see the progression of the sun.
Yeah.
So as it goes, getting up from earlier to later, then the solstice, and now it went up to like 7:30ish. I think was right about where it was going here for the last few weeks. And then when we went hiking to Camelback, we made it up to 7:30, and it was already popped up. So now it's gonna start shifting, and as we go back into the summer months, and it's gonna start getting as early as 5 in the morning or so, whenever we used to go. So let me see where we at here. So anyway, guys, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Let everybody know who you are. We got before you guys do, we got Jeff.
Actually sharing this?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We got Jeffrey Weiner in the house. Hey Jeffrey, thank you for joining us. We got our buddy Chris Ontiveros. We got Michelle Hooner who says hello. Hey, thank you, Michelle. Much appreciate your support and your constant showing up here. Pam Bauer, thank you for joining us here, Pam. Let me see here. Who else do we got? We got Angelique White. We got Mr. Keon Gray. Hey, Keon, thank you for being consistent and always showing up. Dude, let's set up a meeting. I'm definitely interested in talking to you about some of these out-of-state stuff that we had mentioned before. We got David Sandoval here who says, Buenos dias, everyone. Hey, David, did you check this shit out? You're a fucking Dragon Ball Z nerd. Did you see this shit? Some badass stuff right there. let me see. So Angelique says, "Oh, you are so fancy in your conference room." Well, we did say that we were gonna step it up here. We were gonna step it up here with
Yeah.
TZ
On that
Podcast.
note, big shout out to Great American Title, Mary Sayer. Thank you for the awesome room. There you go.
Yes, yes. And Great American is one of the title companies that we use. So when I tell people all the time, and people always ask me like, "Hey, what title company should I use?" The title company is not really that important as the title agent. Because you could go to different branches of Great American, and they may not be as good as Mary.
Right.
But once you start getting into business, you'll start seeing the same names kind of come over and over, specifically on whatever side of the business you're in. So probably, what would you say, 5-6 years ago, Chris, remember Diana Jackman?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, she was all over the place. Everybody used Diana. Everybody used Diana.
Right.
And one way or the other, I mean, she got so damn busy that you couldn't even see her anymore.
Investor specialist. Yeah, she ended up taking on like 4 or 5 escrow agents under her just because she was so good at what she did.
And now we have Amy Fink, who basically was her assistant, that basically took over a lot of those things. We got Noemi Medina, which is somebody that we use. Mary Sayer, who's somebody that we use. But Mary is somebody that I personally use on many of my deals. Chris uses in a lot of his deals. Have you guys?
Yeah,
you guys
used
Mary before?
Yep.
Perfect. So why don't we just introduce yourself, guys, to let everybody know who you are, what you do, and whatever.
Sure. Hey, so I am Risha Davis, and BP told you a lot about what I do during the morning times every day. And hashtag Rise with Risha.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we have 2 beautiful babies at home, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. We have been investing in real estate since 2009. Full-time for me is 2014, and full-time for Drew is 2016. So we buy rental properties, we're cash flow investors for sure. We wholesale houses, we flip homes, we buy some land, we are just stepping up our game right now. So yeah, that's who we are. That's who
She
I
covered it best. My name is Drew
Yeah.
Davis. I'm Marisha's husband, and we're excited to be here. We're honored and privileged to get to work with these rock stars and be able to, have success in the same marketplace. It's pretty cool. We do the same thing, but we're not competitors to one another. We're more like collaborators. So it's great to be able to hang out with you guys and talk business.
Yeah, work with your friends.
And that's something that I tell you guys all the time. I mean, you get in this business, or in life in general, you get to choose whatever direction you want to take your life. And if you're this extra competitive person that wants to believe that everybody's your competition, guess what? The universe will bring you circumstances and scenarios that will prove that to be right. If you choose not to, which I'm personally one of those people that chooses not to, the universe will then make scenarios to then choose what it is that you want. One of the things that I like here that I've been able to, like I said, really create a friendship with Risha. I've been getting to know Drew because of that. We just had dinner over there. So Risha and her husband are really fit, as you guys can see. And they take their health very seriously. And about a year ago, you guys started doing something called keto, right? Ketosis.
Yeah.
So keto has kind of gained popularity here lately. I know Chris lost a bunch of weight doing keto, but
Our guy Paul's he's right at 100 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Good for
We
him.
do a little something for that.
Good. We should do a little something for him.
That's huge, 100
That's
pounds?
a lot.
Yeah. Good job, Paul.
But one of the things that a lot of times people do, and we're all victims of this, is that they start something and then they don't finish. And I will say, I don't know if I ever told you guys, but you guys did inspire me to go in that journey. You and a few other friends that, I had a few other friends that have really stuck to it also, but you guys I see all the time. So to see you guys just consistently doing it, and I think that's one thing that me and Risha have found out that really, really good for the mountain. And shit, we just talked about this when we went to Camelback.
Yeah.
Like, if you weren't gonna show up, then I wasn't gonna fucking show up.
Somebody's
It was
gotta
cold.
show up.
It was cold that morning.
Windy,
Yeah, it was really
dark.
windy.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man.
It's accountability, right? And so it doesn't matter if it's your lifestyle, if it's your food, if it's your outlook on life, if it's what you feed your brain, if it's any part of life, you get to choose what you want to focus on and what you want to do. And every one of us has habits. It's whether or not they're serving you or if they're hurting you. And so I found a year ago that going up the mountain every morning was a good habit that served me, and that changing the way I ate. At first it felt awful. It was terrible. But, you know, 2 weeks into it, and I'm loving life, and I have never felt better. I mean, it's great. And then so many other doors open to you when you start feeding yourself food or nutrition or anything for your brain, anything. If you start serving yourself in a good way, one place, all these other doors open to you also. You know, I would never have the relationship I have with BP or with Chris if I wouldn't have started this journey. You know, I wouldn't have the relationship, our relationship would not be as strong if I hadn't started that journey. And it's just, it goes to business, it goes to everything.
Well, and that's one thing that you hear me say all the time. That's one thing that my mentor has beat into my fucking head over and over and over every single week. Phoenix 2% Club. Still, all you same fucking thing. All you motherfuckers are like, let me know next time. Let me know where it is. Let me know what time it starts.
That group is always the same size.
It's always the same size.
Whether it was 8 years ago,
people
whether
don't show
it
up
was yesterday, you know.
And it just goes to show that people, you know, Anyway, back to what I was saying. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
And that's the thing that has been beaten in my head over and over and over. How you do anything is how you do everything. And that's what she was talking about.
Talking about that keto, though, you're talking about, you get that keto burn going, you know, you can feel it when you're in ketosis, but I think you get the burn in your brain too. When I'm in ketosis, my brain is flying.
On fire.
You know, seriously, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really makes a big difference, I think.
Well, that was the thing that totally transformed everything for me, was that it was only physical that I needed to change, or I thought I needed to change, and lose some weight. And then all of a sudden I had a brain fog clear, and then it's my brain, oh, holy shit, I've never felt my brain so powerful. And so then there's no reason I want to go the other direction, because now I know how it feels to go this way. And if I can operate at this level all the time, game over. You know,
exactly, you are. It is another level. It really is.
It goes back to the same thing, guys. How you do anything is how you do everything. And once you start bettering one aspect of your life, then you start noticing other aspects. So I remember growing up, and I was a little bit more cleanly than my brother was, but we ended up sharing a room for most of our life.
Okay.
And then as I went and lived on my own, then my place wasn't a pigsty, but it also wasn't really clean.
Right.
You know, it was kind of clean. And then I started noticing little things. So I'm like, all right, well, let me fix this. And then shit, well, that doesn't match this now. And now I have to, and now, you know, now I keep my stuff pretty clean. Everything's pretty organized, in my place. And a lot of times people are like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, you're a bachelor and your house and everything's so organized. Just because you start with one and then it unravels to the other and unravels to the other. And then that's, honestly, guys, that's how you do growth. That's how you start in real estate. That's how you move forward in real estate. So why don't you let everybody know how you guys started in real estate?
Sure, you can go ahead.
That's kind of a funny story. By accident is the shortest answer I could tell you. Accidental rentals. The short version of it is when Risha and I were first starting to, you know, get serious, and she wanted to have her own house. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but you know, look at what the market's like in Phoenix in 2008, and it just wasn't going to be possible to sell my underwater house. And I didn't know a thing about being a landlord, so it's like, okay, go ahead and buy your house, bring something to the table, but what am I going to do? And I said, well, maybe I can rent it out. I've heard about that before, and you wouldn't believe it, but I probably came into one of the biggest real estate sales funnels by accident. Closed out of my email one day, and it was some free Rich Dad event talking about, you know, learn about real estate. I think maybe I could get some decent tips on how to be a landlord. So I go to a free event, and you know, I can condense the story a lot by saying, you know, we ended up making once we got exposed, and then that text was expanded, and then we got a little bit of content. We saw the light, went all in. We made an investment in our education, and that's really when the journey began. So it started with a lot of stumbles and bumps and bruises with that first rental. I didn't know what that guy was doing, but you learn, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. Just like you were saying, you start to level up over time to where now it's what we do. Cash flow investing.
Well, and that's one of the great things that we've, you know, as you start going into business, you eventually start figuring out what it is, what direction you want to go. And sometimes it happens by accident, sometimes it happens on purpose. You know, we had, the last time we were in this room, we were interviewing Samara and Jay. and they were talking, you know, they do a lot of mobile home stuff, and they were talking about how they backed into that in an accident.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They were kind of losing their ass in their first flip, and somebody mentioned something about how you want to check out this stuff
Yeah.
about the mobile homes, and now that's their primary business, and they're doing pretty well at it. But as you go into business, eventually you start figuring out which direction you want to go. You start figuring out how you want to do things. You start figuring out who you want to be like.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the universe starts really attracting these people in your life and repelling people that shouldn't be in your life.
Yeah.
And we talked about this many times about being who you are. The more that you are, the more that you're sure of who you are, the better it will be for you in all aspects of life, especially real estate. Because a lot of times people get in the business and they're like, oh man, I saw these big checks and I want to do this and I want to go here and I want to flip here and I want to drive a Lamborghini and I want to go to vacations and I want to do this. But in reality, that may not be what they want.
Yeah.
I've been having this big dilemma in my head and just noticing the general public how most people don't really know what they want, and what they say they want isn't really what they want. They're just kind of saying that because other people, society tells them that's what you're supposed to want.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, and like I said, as we start going and we start going, one of the things that we found in common is that we're both looking at cash flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where a lot of people were flipping houses, me being one of them, a lot of other people were just not and focusing on cash flow.
Okay.
So we have a mutual friend, Ruben, right? And Ruben has been vital in your guys' growth.
Yeah.
Ruben has been a good friend of mine, and he's been a really good person, really good resource for me throughout the years to go to. I met Ruben back in the day when I had a bandit sign company. So he hired me to go places, bandit signs, and that's just kind of how we met. But from there, though, Ruben was always really adamant about owning cash flowing properties. And I remember that he used to tell, man, he told me like 4 years ago, he sent me the file on the E-Myth. And he's like, you need to listen to this, you need to study this, you need to, this book is gonna be the Bible, this is where it's at. And I was like, all right, Ruben, that's all right, cool, thank you for sharing that information. I'm gonna go back and let me focus on flipping houses. And he's like, no, cash flow, systems. So, dude, now I completely agree with you. Now, I mean, the E-Myth is one of those books that I completely recommend to anybody at any stage, particularly in the beginning stage of business, that kind of teaches you, gives you examples of 2 different directions that you can take your business and the plus and minuses of each one, and really showing you what most people do, which is most people are self-employed, they're not really business owners.
Yeah.
They don't really have business systems. So part of having a business system is having money coming in without you particularly working or working too much.
Yep.
Right.
And one of the ways that we do that here in real estate is called rental properties, or particularly cash flow. So we got a question over here from Ramon Osario. He says, want to do my first flip, do you have any properties? Ramon, where are you at? Let me know what market you're at, and we may or may not have properties here. I will tell you though that everybody wants to flip, and the flipping is a lot more sexy, it's a lot more appealing than buying and holding. Buying and holding is the slow and steady. Buying and holding is the marathon.
Right.
People don't show out for the marathons, they show out for the sprints. Those are the exciting ones, right? The relay races, the sprints, or whatever the fuck they're doing in the Olympics.
So you guys, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so you guys backed into your first rental, but we're always talking about how you flipped, getting some cash, and then hold for wealth, because it's hard to. A lot of people, they'll get in, they'll spend all their money buying rentals, and then they're like, well, what do I do now?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's 2008. You didn't short sale. You rented,
We
which
rented.
is
Yeah.
well, not what most people did.
Yeah.
So what did you move into next? Or did you get into flips?
No, so in 08, 09, 2010, all that area where we were really at the bottom, we saw the opportunity for the rentals, and there was not the opportunity for the flips at the time because there was nothing selling higher.
Right.
And so we just thought, holy crap, we found a bank that would lend at really good terms. I mean, we would have to put 10% down. And I mean, this is when you can buy property at $45,000, $50,000. And I mean, it's like 03 builds. They're 5-year-old homes. I mean, they're beautiful. And so we started buying rentals. And so we just stayed in the rental game. And it wasn't until 2014 that we got into wholesaling, and then 2015 flipping, and then now it's all of it.
Yeah. So it did come as a process, and even as we moved to different parts of the valley, like that West Side house, you know, and she had that house, we did move, right?
Yeah.
And when it was time to move again, because we wanted to start a family, we just never sold the houses. Because we knew the rent rates were strong, and lucky that the secret for us is we stayed gainfully employed, right? I mean, we're not quadrant anymore, but you know, we
could
can't
get loans easily.
Yeah, we could get loans, and so you know, if you could bring 10-20% to the table, that's 10 grand on a 50K house.
I love it. That's a huge thing.
Kids,
don't quit your job too soon,
right?
Because the second you would have quit your job, now you have to wait 2 years to establish to where before you get loans again.
So we just stayed, and as we moved, we turned those into rentals, and then they were all cash flowing. So when you go to get that next round of debt servicing, you're covered even when they deduct.
And you can use that now, because once you have more than one property, or especially one that's been seasoned, then now you can use your rent rolls to show, and they'll give you more and more credit the more you have experience.
So that's strengthening you as a borrower instead of being
Right.
over leveraged. So that's great.
And now, guys, this buyer beware when it comes to this particular scenario, though. All right, because there's a lot of people that get stuck in the employee mindset.
Yeah.
It's very hard to leave that. Now, if you're the type of person that's going to be determined anyway, you already know that you're going to do that. Definitely use it to your advantage. You know, take advantage of being able to get loans, take advantage of a bunch of other things. But there's a whole other section of people that just can't.
Yeah.
There's other people that just need to burn the bridge.
Yeah.
And I was one of those people. I needed to burn the bridge. Like, I needed to get the fuck out of there. I needed to make sure that everybody knew that I was getting the fuck out of there. I needed to make sure that everybody knew that I wasn't coming back. And I didn't care if I was going to be not as well, but I wasn't going to go back, because I was not going to show face in that place ever again. So, you know, wherever your personality is, and this is why I always go back to telling you, you know, everybody wants to go like, hey man, what's the best way to market? Hey, what's the coolest technique to talk to a seller or whatever? But in reality, the best thing is find out who you are. Find out what your strengths are, find out what your weaknesses are. Find ways to accentuate your strengths, find ways to hide your weaknesses, and then eventually you'll be able to move up. We got Jeff Fagan in the house. Hey Jeff, thank you for joining us over here. We got our buddy Nicholas Huffman in the house. Hey Huffman, I'll be seeing you here in a week or two down when I go to San Diego. So we got Ramon, who says he lives in Phoenix. Phoenix and Tucson is where he's looking for properties. He's a general contractor. I remodel properties for a lot of investors, so I think it's time for me to start doing this too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but be careful. My very first flip property I bought from a guy just like you, Ramon. A guy exactly like you, who had been fucking flipping houses for investors, and he said, it's time for me to get in the game, and it's time for me to do this myself. Well, from the way that I understand it, he bought one, and the numbers were all right. Then he got 3 properties that were brought to him, bought these other 3 properties, then put all his money on the first property that was supposed to make him all this money, then was stuck with 3 properties making hard money payments on them. So I actually ended up buying the property that he got for the same price that he bought it for, because he just wanted to get out of the hard money payments.
Yeah.
And that was my very first flip that I did. And last time I checked, which was probably a year after I finished that project, he was still working on that first house. And look, man, Nicholas here says word turd. I'll let you know when I'm down there. That's my good friend Nick, who lived down in Costa Rica. He's the guy that got me all fucked up and made me miss my flight and all the other fun stuff that we did here before that. But Ramon, let me this is 100% for reals. The problem with people like you going in and wanting to do flips is that you're a contractor by trade. You're going to have this huge ego about how good your product is supposed to look. You're going to be like, I'm going to use top of the line this, my name is on there, I'm doing all the work myself. That is a double-edged sword, and that's actually not the way to financial freedom. That's the way to create yourself another job. So you'll be creating yourself maybe a bigger earning job, but it'll still be a job. You'll still be in the job doing all these things, and yeah, you're going to make more profit because you're not paying a contractor. But eventually, man, you're going to get stuck. And eventually what happens to people like you is that you go over budget. then you don't understand that you're not realistic to price a property. No, I did all of this work. I did all this work myself, and we run into this all the time with sellers.
Yep.
Well, you know, your regular mom and pop sellers, where they're like, well, I painted the house myself, so it's worth an extra $10,000. And you're like, shit, you can't even get a professional to come in and do a nice job for $10,000. But that's how people are. And so I'm just giving you the warning, Ramon. I'm not telling you that not to do it. However, I will tell you this, though. In the Phoenix market right now, it is extremely competitive, especially when it comes to flips. Numbers are not making any sense. Do not be one of these people that you're so desperate to get a deal that you're going to buy anything, thinking that you're going to save the money for doing all the work yourself. And then you're going to end up doing all this work for very, very little bit of money, or worst case scenario, even losing money. So just be very, very careful with that, especially here in the Phoenix market. It's just getting ridiculously tight.
Yeah,
but if you're interested in Queen Creek, let us know.
Yeah, there's always opportunities. Pinal County's red. But man, take advantage of the fact that you're a contractor and there are no available contractors out there. I mean, if you want to make more money, raise your prices. I mean, you can do that right now. You know, just take it. Always be aware of the marketplace.
Yeah, and I would, like I said, I would caution you, especially if you're looking to do your first flip. I would caution you because we are peaking. It's I don't know when it's going to crest.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. I mean, obviously, everybody would be rich if they knew exactly when. But the signs are there. The signs are definitely showing that, and it's just at some point it's gonna come crashing. You don't want to get stuck with the dick in your hand, man. You want to be like, you don't want to be stuck there. You don't want to be that person. So anyway, anybody else that's got any questions here about particularly cash flow? So let's talk about this. You guys went into rentals, which I have a few rentals. Chris has a few rentals, and then. But you guys have kind of been making that your primary business, right? Just buying and holding rentals?
Mm-hmm. So we are always adding properties to our rental portfolio. So it's just something that, because we're always marketing for off-market deals and to people that aren't on the MLS, then we get the first look at everything that comes through. And so every single one, we have our criteria very well defined. So we know what we're looking for, and then a couple times they hit where before, so back in like 2010, 2011, we went by the rule of, okay, rent has to equal 1% of purchase price. And that was easy to do back then. Easy, all day long.
40,000.
Oh, and 800, done, you know?
Even with HOA.
Yeah, so it was perfect. And then now it gets tighter and tighter, but I mean, last year we picked up one for, I think we were $112 and there's $1,100 in rent. And so, and new build, I mean, all day long. So as soon as those come in, we just grab them. They don't go out.
You know how many people tell me that you can't find those in Phoenix?
Oh yeah, people say that all the time.
All the time, yeah, it's not possible.
There hasn't been, I don't think there's been a year since like, I mean the last 5-6 years that we haven't added something to our portfolio at least, and most times more than one.
Yeah, they might not be as abundantly available as they were 5 years ago, but
Yeah,
that's
you
where you
gotta
start
do
to
it.
expand your
Yeah,
borders,
you gotta work,
know?
but.
Yeah.
Or you can go out of fucking state.
Or you can go out of state.
You can go to a different market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where we, are headed to, because we talk about a lot of the travel that we do right now is to the Midwest, and we have some great connections out there. A lot of our friends now are all in real estate and real estate investing, and so that leads to great connections, and everybody knows what everyone's looking for. So in St. Louis and these Midwest areas, you can get cash flow, super strong cash flow, 400, 500, 600 a month,
Now,
all day long on low.
Let me ask you a
entry
question
properties.
though. Would you have known that if you would not been networking?
No, of course
Would you
not.
have known that had you not
No.
been taking the time to fly
No.
to these events
Nope.
and make,
Make
any of
friends
that?
and make any connections there. No,
No.
not at all. You have to always be networking. Your world is the world is really small.
Yes.
You know, and it's just who you surround yourself with. And it's, I came back after I met Ruben, I don't know, we started connecting like 18 months ago. 2 years ago. And then when we started hiking, it's like, wait, you know Ruben? Oh, I've known him for 5 years or 10 years. And then everybody kind of knows each other. And it expands to more than just right in Phoenix. It's in St. Louis, it's in California, it's in Florida. It's
Well,
all
and
over.
I've built many friends here through Facebook.
Yeah.
We got Hector de Santiago in the house. Hey man, thank you for joining us. We got Christina McLaughlin in the house. God damn it, I can't say your fucking name. You already know who you are. You know I love you. We got Chris Jackson here. He says that he loves the Midwest. But, you know, somebody like Hector. Hector was somebody that I personally met because of Facebook.
Yeah.
So he saw the AC Flip guys. He reached out. He's like, hey, I got a flip going on in Phoenix. I live in LA. Next time I'm in town, I want to come and hang out.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, send me whatever. He sent me a message. We ended up connecting, and that's it.
Just like that.
I got friends all over the U.S. that I met specifically on Facebook. This one time I went to Orlando, Florida to our Jack Bosch seminar to learn about buying and selling land. There was so many of us in there from this one real estate wholesale group that we were like, oh, hey, what's up, Asia? Hey, what's up, Nassar? Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? Hey, everybody was there. Like, everybody was there. We all kind of knew each other, and we were just from networking, from going out there. Now, going out to the actual events and getting to know them in person was amazing. Like, I went in there in Orlando, and I was just going to call it Uber. So I'm looking at my phone, and then I see this girl walk by, and I'm like, fuck, holy shit, Asia, is that you? She's like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm about to go pick up my rental car and then drive over there. Like, I'm staying right down, I'm staying at that hotel, and I'm like, sure, I'm staying right down the street from there. She's like, well, you want to ride with me? Cool. So for about half an hour, I got to sit down with this girl that I've known, known online, but never actually talked with her. Find out what she's doing, find out how her business is going, where she's going. Kind of, she did the same with me, and we've been able to build a pretty strong friendship because of that. Yeah. She now lives in Detroit. We talked about potentially looking at some stuff in the Midwest in Detroit. If I ever go there, she would be one of my boots in the ground people. Yeah. She's a general contractor, and that's how you get, that's how you learn different information. Yeah. You network and you put yourself out there.
We've had some guys say, hey, look at this deal, look at that deal. They show me Midwest deals. I can buy this house for 90 and it rents for this. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. Like, if that's what you want, let's go find it for you for 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's out there, you know what I mean? They're paying full price, so having that network, you can go the whole U.S.
Yeah.
So we got Chris Jackson here who's saying, St. Louis, you can buy all in $10K and rent it for $650 easy.
$10K? All right, so Chris, I want to know is, I don't want to mess with that. Can I go buy it for $10K, sell it for $30K on a note, and cash flow that way? Because with those small deals, I don't think I'd want to mess with.
We have some connections out there, especially in St. Louis, that do the turnkey, will do all that and have the buyers that want to buy on a note. So
yeah, I mean, you can do a 10-year note and $600-700. It's the same numbers,
the game.
But they're owners and you're just the bank.
Yeah, and you don't have to deal with it.
And there is that's
no, because we want to do that. I mean, if we could, we could probably place some more money there because those numbers would be sick.
Yeah. And that's actually, guys,
we will have
that is why you saw me travel to Milwaukee. I don't want to fucking go to Milwaukee in the middle of fucking February in 4-degree weather. No, not at all. No, not on purpose. I didn't want to do any of that. The purpose why I went over there was to check out opportunities. The purpose why I went over there is because I know somebody who lives here, who does properties out there, who's been able to buy properties, put them turnkey rentals, and then turn around and sell them to investors. Yeah. And it's just a different way because he's still flipping properties. Sure. It's just a different way.
Different model. There's so many different models. There's so many different ways. There's so many things you can do within real estate investing that as you get going and as you start learning, then all of a sudden it opens up to you. And once you really master one way, then you can add a new way into your toolbox.
And the guys, this is such a great lesson for entrepreneurs in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Figure one thing out before you move on to the next thing. Yeah. There's so many dumb, brilliant people out there. Like, seriously, geniuses that are just fucking stupid. And what I mean by you're fucking stupid is that you can't focus on one thing. You're always focused on this, I call it the shiny object syndrome. It's just, ooh, look, that's an opportunity here, oh, that's an opportunity here, there's an opportunity there, there's an opportunity there, and you never get anything going. Yeah. And then you wonder how you're so smart, you got all these degrees, you've got all these charisma, you got all these skills, but you can't figure anything out because they just don't focus on one thing. Real estate is the exact same thing. There's so many avenues to make money in real estate. You have the option to choose which one you want. And that's why I suggest all the time to figure out who it is that you are. Because once you figure out who you are and what your values are and what it is you want out of life, you know, one of the things that I like about you guys is that you guys coming into this as a couple. You guys have your goals set as a couple. You guys have your goals set as a family. As I was at your house, I saw the little placemats you guys had on the table for the kids, right? And certain things in different ways. But that's because they were able to come together and say, this is what we want. Part of that is, how do we want our business to run? We want to see our kids. We don't want to, you know, drop them off at daycare, which is something that you were doing a while ago, right? I want to have them at my house. How can we figure out a way to do that? Which you guys did, right? You guys want to share how you guys? Well, actually, before you do, we got Giovanni in the house, and we got Sterling in the house. Hey, Sterling, thank you for joining us. So you want to share how you got a free daycare in your house? You don't have to, but.
Well,
creative
actually,
thinking.
it's all about creative thinking, right? And so the woman that watches our children, she's actually a director and a lead instructor at a new school that she's opening. So when we started connecting, you know, entrepreneurs connect, and small business owners and people that really want to do something and make a change find a way to connect. And so you know, she has this dream of opening a school. It's in the works. You know, it's gonna open soon. And so in the meantime, I said, how are you gonna get the marketing going? How are you gonna get, you know, go from your job at the time to a new school and get to the dream, and let me be that bridge for you. And I need help with my kids, that I want to keep them at home. And so she's at our house watching our kids, but also watching a couple other ones, building up the clientele, getting ready so that there's not that dip when you start a new business, and she can just move seamlessly on into our facility.
So instead of them, not being able to see their kids most of the day, 2, having to pay for daycare, they were able to work out a deal where the lady who's going to be starting her school anyway, they give her a kind of a baseline to start, because it's kind of like your proving grounds, right? And in return, you take care of my kids for free at my house.
Well, we provide the facility, you know.
Exactly.
All we did was build a bridge for someone to accomplish their goals.
You figure out what you want. You figure out what you
guys,
want.
that comes with clarity. That comes with knowing what your values are. That comes with knowing where it is. So if they would have been your average real estate person out there, or your average person who wants to get into real estate, they're like, oh man, I want to make money. I want to make these big monies. I want to make all the. They could have. But they, you know, Chris talks about his first year making $100,000 as an agent, where he was running around, never seen his family, never seen his wife. Horrible, right? We got Giovanni Rodriguez here, who says, you want to be friends with Brian, just take him to a good restaurant. That's basically true. The more unique the restaurant is, the better. The more unique their dishes are, better. The more small, crappy, little hole in the wall, mom and poppy place, the more I'm gonna love it. And Giovanni knows this because he took me to the best Mexican restaurant that I've ever been to, and it's somebody's house in Merida. So it's only open like Friday and Sunday, a few hours in the morning or something like that. And they'll clear everything out. They'll put their tables, and then it was cool. They ended up moving, so Giovanni, I still need to know the address for the new place.
The best. But you just said the best.
The best.
The best Mexican food that you've ever had?
No, the best Mexican food that I've had in Phoenix.
That's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement. But here's why. It was literally 2 grandmas in the kitchen cooking. Like, that's literally what it was. And there was a family like coming in there, and they were the waiter and waitress or whatever, everything else. So they moved all their furniture from they had their Arizona room, and they had a dining room and their living room. So they would put all the furniture in the Arizona room, the dining room, living room, put all these tables, and that was where they were at. Jeez. Dude, it was awesome.
I have to test that out.
Amazing.
Verify this.
Hey, Giovanni, let me know. We got Scott Wally Novak in the house. Hey, Scott Wally Novak. Thank you for joining us here. We got Chris Jackson, who says he's got 2 families in St. Louis just sold for $8,500. 2,400 square feet, 3-bedroom units.
Wow.
That is insane.
Yeah.
And there, guys, there is possibilities out there.
Yeah.
Chris, we're definitely going to need to talk. As I said, I'm definitely open, and we've been looking, and I've been going to other markets to check them out. So definitely St. Louis, give us a holler. We got they're already looking in St. Louis, so just give us a holler. Let me see. You want a contract for deed? Yeah. I mean, there's many different ways to skin the cat, and you. This is what I tell everybody here. You have to understand that there's many different ways.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a hard on for flipping. I had a hard on for flipping because it was one of these things that was just portrayed, and you see it on TV, you see it on the shows. Everybody's going out there. Everybody's a flipper now. Everybody's doing something, and you know we were looking at some person who is recently started flipping, has a few successful flips under their belt, and decided that they're looking to take on a $500,000 flip here in Phoenix. Based on the numbers that we see, it didn't look like a good deal just right up based off the numbers.
Right.
Even if it was in good condition, even if it just needed updating, just because of the type of property and the type of updates that you're gonna need to do, like it just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
But people have a hard on for flipping.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I realized that flipping was a job.
Yeah, it is.
And this is something that I told Ramon earlier there, you don't want to create yourself another job. So flipping becomes a job. If you're doing so, with the title lady here, Mary, lent somebody, my neighbor, some money for some flips.
Yeah.
Eventually, she found out that he was taking on 12 projects with no project manager.
Oh my gosh.
And he was managing all the subs and doing all that stuff himself. Hell to the motherfucking no.
The stress level,
Man,
like the weight on his shoulders. Oh my God.
when I first met Chris, this motherfucking ass was doing something similar to that. He was running like 8 projects or something with no project manager. Man, I spent so much time telling Chris, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you can't be doing that. He was constantly running back and forth. You eventually get lost into what it is that you want versus what people think that you want, or what you think you want based on other people's opinions. And a lot of times you've heard me rant about this all the time. Chris, you heard me rant about this all the time. The flip guys in the audience have heard me rant about this all the time. But this whole perception about, just hustle, just grind, just work harder. And I think that's one of the things that me and Risha really connected with. I brought in last time Mark Warlick, who's actually one of the few people that has actually shown up and gone hiking with us more than one time. So shout out to Mark over there, he's a good person. But that's one of the things that all three of us kind of come in. We're not interested in working hard. We're interested in attracting what we want from the universe.
Yeah.
We understand that the hard work is in clarifying what it is that you want from the universe, in putting the right energy that you want from the universe, and putting everything out there so you don't have to deal with the grind of the everyday working. And this is why, my shirt right here, you guys can't see it, but it says Cash Flow Creator. Yeah. And you guys gotta check out the back of this shirt. Do you see this right here? Do you see that? That's new. Oh yeah. Shout out to my buddy Big Kahuna over there for sending him over. Him and his wife, Corey and Shelly. We got Kelly Rojas in the house. Hey Kelly, thank you for joining us. Just like always, guys, please help us by sharing the video. We're not selling anything, we're not pitching anything, we're not offering anything, we're just putting out different opportunities for people out there, different opportunities to partner up with us. If you guys happen to be in the Midwest, if you guys come across Chris Jackson, if you come across great deals like this, or you're looking to wholesale, let us know, we're looking to buy. If you guys are money partners that want to partner up with somebody, if you guys say, hey, I got some money sitting around there, but I got a regular job, I got kids, I'm not really sure if I want to do what Risha and Drew did and actually pay the money for the education, and then because you guys had to work your regular jobs and then you're still working your other business, right? And then you still got kids, which it's not like your kids are like 14, 15 where they can take care of themselves, right?
Little guy.
No.
Little guy.
So, all of that takes time. And everybody is different. And I tell you guys, know who you are. If you're not the type of person that can just jump on the other side, burn the boat, not even think about it and just suffer the consequences, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna hurt yourself more than anything. And then from here all the way to what they did, which is, hey, I got a job and I want to kind of separate. And then to the other side of things where, hey, I just got money and I want to be involved in real estate. I know there's a lot of money in real estate, but I just don't want to do it myself. I got no intention of flying out to the Midwest and checking on properties. I just kind of want to get a good return. I want to get a better return than I'm getting with wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
That's where people like us come in.
Exactly.
That's where we partner up with individuals. But here on the AZ Flip Guys, we're not offering anything. We're just letting you guys know, hey, we're available to do this or do that. We got Masroor in the house. I actually met him through networking. When you know Leah? Yeah, Leah and Neil.
Yeah.
They had a Christmas party, which Chris couldn't go because I don't know why he couldn't go. But I ended up going over there and I met Masroor. I'm probably fucking up your name. Who cares? He's an Indian guy, super cool guy, and he's doing some flipping here. And then we got Mr. Ball in the house here, who I've actually met with before. Talked about some real estate stuff. He's wholesales different properties here locally. And guys, it's all about the networking. It's all about putting yourself out there. One of the things that me and Chris have been doing, and we're actually about to launch here in about a week or two, is our partnership that we're doing. So we're actually creating a partnership to then go buy different multi-units. We had a 36 unit right now over in Indiana. We have 100 and something unit. I don't remember where the fuck it's at. I got to look through the emails. Chris was just saying, was Sierra Vista, right? Was it a mobile home park?
Yeah, 14 units in Southern.
So either way, guys, we're constantly looking for other cash flowing avenues because we realize that that's what we want. I got kids, you got kids, you got kids, you got kids. We all like to spend time with our family. Chris went to Costa Rica and that motherfucker didn't want to come back. You guys are actually going to Costa Rica, right?
We might not come back.
Hey, once I'm financially free and I have that cash flow, I might really move to Costa Rica because why not?
Yeah, because why not?
Exactly right.
And as you start going outside of your circle, as you start going outside of your comfort zone, as you start networking with people, as you start flying to these events, I've said it many, many times before, the $2,000 investment or whatever it is that I spent, the first seminar that I went to go hang out with Chris, where he's like, look, I got an extra ticket, anybody want to go? You know, I paid for the plane ticket, I ended up paying for the rental car, and I think I paid for half of the hotel room or some shit like that. Didn't really matter. At the end of the day, whatever that cost me has paid itself tenfold. The information that I learned from there was amazing. The friendship that started with me and Chris, that's actually how all of this started. Because of that, we ended up coming across another seminar in San Diego that we ended up driving to. So we spent some money on that seminar, same thing, like we split an Airbnb. Oh, that was that cool Airbnb that we had that was multi-level, remember? Right. Yeah, that was cool. It was behind some old lady's house too. And it was like their old garage that they turned into like this cool multi-level Airbnb. It was awesome. It was awesome.
And the best thing is, which is key when you're staying with this guy, is you gotta have your own room.
Yes. You have to snore. Yes, yeah, oh, for sure. And I've been snoring ever since I was a little kid. I don't know anything to do about it. I'm not gonna wear a fucking machine like a mask, the whole Darth Vader mask. No, I'm not gonna do any of that. But because of that first seminar, it created the friendship between me and Chris. Yeah. That eventually led to, hey, let's do some stuff together. Hey, let's go check out the seminar. I think Chris was the one who found it. Let me know about it. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's go. We ended up driving over there. On the drive there, especially on the drive back, we had a really in-depth conversation as to how we can help the most amount of people and how we can achieve the goals that we wanted to.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about it, we realized that, you know, we wanted to help out people and wanted to give them a better return than they can get. Mm-hmm. And that the event was actually about raising money, but we wanted to do it in a bigger scale. Sure. And it took us a few years to kind of figure out the legalities of what we want to do, what's going to be best for us, what's going to be best for the investors, what's going to give everybody a better return, how to do all of this stuff. Through networking, I've been able to find other individuals, including the guy at Secret Knock that I met with for 2 hours. He literally just schooled me on how to raise money, how to protect all your investors, how to use trust and different things to shield yourself from frivolous lawsuits and all these other things to protect your asset and your investors.
Yeah.
Right.
And it all came from networking. And now we were able to finally here in a few weeks roll out the company, which will be looking for investors for the company. Then that particular company's only mission will be to buy cash flowing multi-unit properties, because we're looking for cash flow. And you guys are looking for cash flow.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're looking for cash flow, we may be looking for cash flow differently than they're looking for cash flow. We may be looking at it in different areas that we're looking for cash flow, but the concept is still the same. I don't really want to get up and work tomorrow if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I enjoy hanging out with my kids, right?
That's a great point.
Or
And something I just wanted to call out about all of what he's talking about that ends up happening to do with money all starts in education,
Yeah,
right?
it does.
And sometimes it's that catchy scenario where people are like, oh, you pay for your education, you know, all those big companies out there making money off people, and you really have to think about it for a second, because one quote that was great that I heard that went like this, you know, formal education will make you a living, right?
Yeah.
Going to college, higher education, but self-education is what makes you a fortune.
Yeah.
So you might spend $5,000 for a 3-day class by some guru and be like, oh man, that's out of sight. But you take the class one time, and look what
You
you're
have a
able to say.
connection
You
like
have
that.
the connections, you build a network, and you're able to parlay that $5,000 into 50 or 500 grand, right? But it's the short-sightedness and kind of that concept, like what's the value of education? You know, everyone's saying, hey, the value of college education is going down, but the value of education isn't going down. You
Yeah.
might have a type of education that's going out of style, or it's built for a world we no longer live in. But there's always going to be people investing, people raising money, people buying, people selling. So if you've got a baseline education in how business works and how you can find cash flowing deals and structured deals and now syndicating, that becomes so powerful. And it was what, a 3-day weekend,
Yeah.
you hung out in a cool city, ate some cool food, cool drinks, cool people, learned some cool new things that you're now profiting on at a much larger scale, and you can go out and help other people
You can
in the
actually-
process.
You
So
can
now
actually take that
I'm a
information.
prime example of that.
It's huge.
From within the time frame, from the time that I went to the very first seminar with Chris to the time that I locked up my very first flip, was probably a month and a half or so. It wasn't that long.
That's not
So I was like, boom, I got it. Boom.
It's like, what's
The
your ROI in
the second
education?
seminar that I mentioned that I went with Chris in
Yeah.
San Diego was about raising money. Within a week and a half, I already had some money. My very first private money investor was raised from that point. I went to Boston last year to learn about buying apartment complexes. Literally within 2 months, probably about 2 months, I had my first apartment complex allocated.
Yeah.
And then within 6 months, I had already closed on that apartment complex.
Right.
All from taking action on these things that I paid. Now, I went to the one in Boston, and I've shared the story with you guys before, but literally on a whim. I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, you know, the market's not going the way that I want to, whatever. I'm going through Facebook, I saw some webinar, I clicked on it, I listened to it, I never listened to this shit. It was like $3,000 for a 2-day seminar. Then I still had to fly out to Boston, then I had to pay for my place. It was all within like 2 weeks span. I said, you know what, boom, let's do it right now. I put in my deposit, I called my assistant, give me a place, give me a plane tickets. We're gone, and that was it. Best freaking thing that I've ever done. Best fucking thing that I've ever done.
How many people were in that class?
Probably 30.
So I would guess probably 3, maybe 4 have actually also bought an apartment
Yeah.
complex. You know
And I know because
Yeah,
I
people
stay
think
connected
about
with
it
some
still.
of them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these people I stay connected via Facebook, and then they message me like, hey dude, how's it going? Oh, I locked up my first. What, really? Oh my God, that's so awesome. Well, I thought, I had one that I'm working, but it fell through or whatever. There are many different aspects, but the majority of the people they're just not gonna take action.
Well, and I think this happens all the time with anybody looking to get into something new or wanting to get into something new. They believe that the information that's being provided is not accurate. And so, for example, you go and look at real estate investing, you can YouTube anything on rentals or wholesaling, or even just listening to this show. Oh, what they're saying is not true, or it only works for them, and it's not gonna work for me. Or it could be like the shiny nickel where it's, oh, okay, you say I have to use a yellow letter with red ink on it? Okay,
That's what I'm
well,
gonna do.
I've heard that so many times, I'm not gonna do that, and I'm a brand new person, I've never done anything, so I'm gonna change the formula because you think you have such a great idea. And when we first got into wholesaling, so the very first time we got exposed to it, I was like, I'm gonna take this over, we are gonna rock it, I'm yes, this is it. And then I worked on it for like 6 weeks and didn't get anywhere and then gave up, right? And that was it, and for years. And then one night I met Dan Valentine, and I'd met him for a long time before that, but one night he said something very clear to me, and it was like, hey, I'm teaching people how to do this every week for 3 hours, just be there, and it's free, and I'll be your buyer. And I'm like, this is too good to be true, like, for you to do this? And so then I went and I said to Drew, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna follow every single thing he says. I'm not gonna change anything. And I had to sit there and handwrite. I didn't know you could use a printer, by the way. So I actually
wrote
hand wrote all these yellow letters, and my mom did with me, right? The templates. Okay, we gotta write these out with red ink. It has to be this way. And deal after deal after deal, and it was like, holy shit, the system works. Now I know that. Now I can master it. Now I can go to something else.
Now, and she said something very important that a lot of people don't do. First of all, most people don't seek out help. Right. Second of all, most people will never pay for education or go find education. And I've said this before, if you don't have money, you don't have to pay for a seminar. You can literally go to these free meetings that like Danny used to have all the fucking time, right? But more importantly, once you find somebody that gives you information, shut the fuck up, follow exactly what they're telling you, and do it. You know how I found my apartment complex? I literally followed step by step what the guy that I paid at the seminar told me to do.
Yeah.
And then he sent out an email, and he's like, here's my copy of the letter that I send out to all these people. And it wasn't even a letter, it was an email. And I literally copied and pasted this shit. Word for word. Yeah. And then just added my information at the bottom. Yeah, and then that's it. Just send it out. That's it. And that's how I found my first apartment complex, which is bringing a stupid, crazy return. Bro, I thought we were gonna, I thought baseline was $24,000 a year. We're probably gonna be closer to $30,000. The expenses are our water bill was like $300.
Yeah.
Fucking electrical, we don't have none.
They pay all the electric. Yeah, that thing was.
The property management is like fucking pennies.
And he's great. They already know him. Yeah, you fell into a great.
And because I networked with my property manager, because I was taking over a system, because I was very respectful of the system that was there beforehand. I talked to the guy. I'm like, look, man, here's the thing. You're a great asset for me. You're probably you're covering one of the biggest pains in my ass when it comes to dealing with properties outside of my market, which is contractors and property managers. Yeah. So if you come across any other deals, let me know. Yeah. He just hit me up that he had an 8-plex that's already cash flowing. The owner's willing to do seller financing. He's just old. He just wants to fucking retire, and we could probably raise rents. And it's a few miles from his house, and he's willing to take care of everything for us if we want it. Sure. So yeah, check it out. Well, here we go.
Awesome.
By what? By following a system. And
believing in the system.
Exactly.
You have to believe that it works, that it's possible for you, and then you can follow the system. You know that way you don't get stuck in the grind.
I think hooking up with Dan is one of the best things because what you guys got to experience and you got to actually see it working. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of people don't believe it. They don't believe that the concepts are true. Like for example, I didn't think you could make a $20,000 wholesale fee until I saw somebody make one. Then I'm like, oh,
so he could do it. I could do it.
I got in. I expected you should make $3,000 on a wholesale. That's fair, right? But no, you make whatever you can.
Yeah, you got the deal at 40 cents on the dollar. You can get more than $3,000.
Our buddy Nassar made $230,000 on a freaking wholesale.
Yeah, and now we know it can be done. Why not?
And you know what? He's a prime example of that. Nassar was flipping houses and he was wholesaling over in fucking South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever the fuck he's at. He went to the same Jack Bosch seminar that I went to. He ended up buying the course. I ended up not buying the course because I'm like, I got a lot of shit going on. This motherfucker took that information and ran with it. Through the information that he learned at that seminar was where he was able to lock down this piece of land. Through other people that he met, somebody's like, dude, why don't you just like check out the zoning on it? He resold this thing and sold it for commercial, and he made $230,000 on a wholesale, on a freaking land deal. It was nuts.
So yeah, that's where I wanted to make another quick comment about the education, and not just the ROI of the education, but the velocity of the education. And when you give thought to the fact that there's very highly educated professionals that are still paying on school loans like 15 years later. You know, whereas you go to a $5 grand, you might have spent more up front and spent a weekend and had to pay for your own plane ticket and all that, but you made the money back in weeks, months, not years and decades.
The best investment
over
is
and over again.
Over and over and over.
The best investment is definitely self-investment.
Yeah, no matter
and here's where people fuck up, and here's where people don't. People usually think that that means money, and at some point, at a certain level, it does mean money, because you have to show the universe what you're willing to give up for what it is that you want. Initially, though, a lot of the beginner stuff you can get for free online. You can get for free by going to these different networking events. You can get for free by asking. But more importantly, it's following through. More important is, you know, how many people ask me, you, Chris, everybody else, hey man, I want to pick your brain, I want to get into the business. How can I,
How many times have we told them to piss off?
And
we don't. You know,
and then, but the majority of those people don't show up. And the people that do show up, they don't do anything. Or they don't do what we tell them. Hell, most people not only not do what I tell them, but do the exact opposite of what I tell them.
And how did, you know, not only is that disrespectful, right? But at the same time, it's, you know, I'm more willing to give more and more information or to give you everything I have when you're doing what we're saying and you're collaborating and you're taking action and you're not trying to change the system and you're not, you know, it's one thing to, okay, can you do this way? Fine, but just take action. If you don't take action,
everybody wants to pass on their information one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's just human nature for us to want to share information and pass on information. And you see this all the time. You get a really successful person and they got kids and the kid want nothing to do with that business or nothing to do with that industry or whatever. And they're just looking for somebody, anybody to just put their fucking information on.
Yeah.
The most important part of all that is they need to have somebody who's willing to learn, and more importantly, somebody who's actually going to take action on there. And that's where all of this comes in, guys. The seminars, the going, the books, the courses, all this stuff is the action, is the follow through. I mentioned to you guys here, I mentioned to you guys out there that I'm writing a book. I actually have my little notepad here that I've been using to, you know, finalize all my thoughts, and I already paid the ghostwriter that's going to be handling everything. I got all the details that I'm sending over to her and how I want the book structured and everything else. But that all came from following through. That all came from saying, yes, you know what, I want to be around people. I want to go to higher end events. You know, we went to Secret Knock. We're going back here in a few weeks down to San Diego, and that's been one of the biggest. I spent a lot of money on there. I mentioned to you guys before, I have spent a lot of money to be the dumbest person in the room. And that
it
pays off.
Yeah. So many multiples.
To me, the best way that I learn is by conversations. Yeah. You know, books, I get audios. I'm a lot more audio learner than I am a visual. Even like movies and stuff, and you know, I'm more of a talking person. Like if I talk with somebody who's doing it, I can talk it through. I can say, okay, I get that part, but I don't get this part. I can get all my information, and that really is how I learn. So that I put that information on there. Now, if you're a bookworm and you can gobble up a book and remember all that stuff, great for you. Maybe that's the route that you go. Everybody's kind of different here. So we got a few different comments here. Let me see. So we got Giovanni who says, I want to share a little cash flow, cash cow I found invested in mobile homes in Texas, 17K per unit with cash flow for 500 for 6 years. Yeah, go ahead, send me a message about that. Let me know what it is that you have. It depends on what part of Texas, but yeah, mobile homes are another great way for you to do it. One of our great friends, John Trebet over in South Carolina, another place that I'm looking to go check out the market because of his angle. He was looking at it more for vacation rentals because he was in Myrtle Beach and how that works and the prices. And he was telling me the prices that he's buying them versus the prices that he's selling them. It was just insane compared to what we can get here locally, right? But anyway, he also buys mobile homes, and he buys them and sells them seller financing, and he's cash flowing. You know, I think he said his average was like 400 or so per property. And he's got quite a bit of properties.
Million ways to make $1 million in real estate.
And you learn all of this as you go. as you progress, one of the things that attracted me the most to going into multifamilies, one of the reasons why we're offering the partnership for the multifamilies, one of the reasons why we're all about the cash flow at this one, I went to the seminar and the guy, Marco, he was like me. He was like an older Eastern European version of me. He cussed all the time. He didn't give a shit about your feelings. He was gonna let you know what it was.
Yeah.
That's just what he was gonna do. So I was like, yeah, I can get with this. I really like it. And then he said, why are you gonna bust your ass for 10 grand where you can just go find a deal that's gonna bring you 10 grand a month?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Really?
Bust
that
your ass
makes-
for that, but you do it.
Yeah,
all the
one
time.
yeah, exactly. And you bust your ass more. It's a longer process. There's a lot more moving parts that come with it. It's a lot more complicated. But once you do this, you're looking at 10 grand a month
Yeah.
versus 10 grand for one
time.
particular deal at
Exactly.
one time. Then you're fighting with a whole bunch of other people
Right.
to do it.
Next one,
You know,
It's
as
way
we're
less crowded at the top.
exactly.
right? An extra mile.
And you just have to find that. But I wouldn't have found that had it not been for networking.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have found that had I not put that out to the universe. I wouldn't have found that had I not just jumped on that plane with less than 2 weeks anticipation, paid whatever the hell that was, because it wasn't the cheapest flight, being that it was within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, find some cool little Airbnb, spend some time in Boston, got a chance to check out Boston, got a chance to do the Freedom Trail, which is really cool if you guys ever go to Boston. If you guys ever go to Boston, do the Freedom Trail. Very, very cool walk where you check out all these cool buildings, all these old things, walk into like the oldest tavern in the US and all, you know, cool little places like that. But more importantly, it clarified what I wanted out of real estate. It said, yeah, you know what, flipping is cool and I'm gonna still flip for a little bit, but what I really want is to own these apartment complexes. What I really want is to own mobile home parks. What I really want is to own cash flowing assets
Right.
that are gonna bring. And as we're going, we're like, cool, you know, I like apartment complexes for XYZ. Well, you know what? Mobile home parks still give you the cash flow, but without these amount of headaches.
Right.
Shit, let's look at mobile home parks a little bit closer, right? Hey, you know, storage units give you cash flow too, but now you don't even have to deal with
Yeah.
anybody doing anything. They're just there.
Oh, what about a parking garage?
Yeah, what
right?
about a parking garage? What about different ways to go about it? My friend, super good friend, he goes by King Raj. He's a character and a half. Of course he is, because he's my friend. I met him at Secret Knock. Dude, Secret Knock, and you'll see this when you go, we're going through a renaissance of this, of younger, early 30s, mid 30s individuals. Because when we first went, it was just a bunch of older folks. Now, but they're all badass.
Right.
Like Manny,
Yeah.
myself, we got Nate, we got King Raj is just killing it. What he does for creative passive income, he owns ATM machines.
Okay, yeah.
There you
He's
go.
like, why complain about ATM fees?
Mhm.
He goes and he freaking goes
Right.
and then he's like, I'm like, dude, how much is it to buy one? He's like, oh, it's a few grand. You can buy a used one for like $5 grand or whatever.
Okay.
But you don't have to buy it, you can just lease one. I said, what?
Come
He's
on.
like, you can lease one. You can literally just lease one. You gotta find somewhere. You break them off a percentage of the profit for letting them stick your freaking machine in there,
Mhm.
and then you cash flow. And he's cash flowing from freaking ATM machines.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
That's all from networking with different individuals. That's all from coming with people. That's all from all these things. We got Scott Wally Novak, who's like, thank you guys for blessing our ears with knowledge. You guys are welcome. And as I said, if you guys want to thank us, share it. Share the video, tag your friends, invite your friends to watch the video. Whatever it is that you can bring us. Like I said, we're just putting this out there. We're not pitching anything. We're just putting out content and we're giving out value. We got Chris Jackson in the house who says, you guys are the best live real estate show on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Agree.
That's
And
a little
we've
too
actually-
specific, but I like it.
We actually, and I know.
Live, if you're the best Arizona at noon.
Arizona at noon.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We
really
are the
appreciate
best
that.
live real estate show on Facebook. I know I've watched some of the other shows, and more importantly than that, we're the most consistent show.
Yes, sir.
So we just applied through Facebook to be a Facebook content creator, so we can actually have like our episodes come out and we can attract a bigger audience and a whole bunch of things. Yeah, because we're on episode 48 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, we're on episode 48.
49.
Huh?
49, right?
We're on 49? I
think
thought we
so.
were 48.
I don't know. We'll see.
I put 48, but we'll check yesterday. It doesn't matter. We're about to be episode 50. Even going to San Diego for Secret Knock, we're gonna be finding one of our badass partners out there. So we already got a handful of contacts out there that would have been there without Secret Knock. Then because of Secret Knock, we got a bunch of badass people. So we're gonna figure out which person we're gonna interview that Friday. But it's gonna be a badass show that particular Friday.
We're gonna get a lot of content that weekend.
We're gonna get a lot of content that week. We got a lot of things planned for that. And I'm actually making a week out of Secret Knock. So Secret Knock is gonna be Wednesday and Thursday. I'm making a whole week to go hang out with different individuals that I need to hang out with, to talk to different. We got our Leo down there, who's our property developer, who came from being an orphan to being a freaking property developer.
Leo's the man.
Huge Leo's the man. We got my other buddy Leo, who schooled me down on all the funds and everything else, raising money. We got a bunch of other individuals that are badass real estate people that we'll be hanging out with throughout the week. We'll be making different videos, and then you have to join us. I don't know who it is, but I will tell you that Friday, whatever that Friday, you know the date is, you know?
I think it's the 8th.
The 8th. So yeah, that particular Friday, we're gonna have a very special guest.
It's the 9th.
I don't, the 9th,
Yeah.
the 9th. All right, so the 9th. That day we're gonna have a very special guest. I don't know who it is, but I can promise you that it's gonna be fucking badass.
So hey, I got some questions if we can move.
Yeah.
So you guys are very unique. So the first thing is you're a couple. You work together.
Yeah.
So I'd like to dive into that a little bit. But first, you're really big on mindset.
Yeah.
Like follow her every morning. She's talking. Both of you. You know, you get in there sometimes too.
Cameo.
But I think you're big on mindset. And I want to know, what do you teach your kids? Is there anything specific that you do to help your kids have a better mindset?
So
Great question.
that is a really good question. We really just try and teach them the things that we're learning, and every year we learn more and more, and they become more and more naturally ingrained, you know. So profits over wages is something that is just, that's what it is. Can't means don't want to. I got it from a colleague at work at our last job, but can't means don't want to is a phrase that my kids know. Our kids know from birth. I mean, the moment they can talk, can't means don't want to. Don't say that in my house.
Yeah.
You know, we're teaching our 4-year-old about money right now.
He just made his first sale.
He just
4-year-old.
made,
Yeah,
he just made his
seriously.
first sale on Valentine's Day. He made paper hearts and then sold them to his grandparents, and then also
Sales a sale.
their friends,
Yeah, sales a
their
sale.
friends that were there, and it was actually not his grandparents that were the first sale, so that was cool. And so why that's important is not only the sale, so he comes back to school the next day, and the teacher tells him, so where's my cut, because I provided the paper and the supplies to make the hearts. And he sat there and he had to understand, what are you asking me? And then he goes, you should get paid. You should get 5 cents for my sale. And when he got her 5 cents, gave it back to him, and learned that he made $2.95 profit. So, you know, you teach those things, and just early on, he knows about money, he knows, you know. So you just, and they're in the videos, they hear us say that stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, with kids, it's just like we're teaching a language. They say, you know, the saying goes, how many languages can a child learn? As many as you can teach them is the answer. So if we're all getting our base operating system, so to speak, installed as kids, we can sneak in like what's in the base package, you know, right out of the womb pretty much. I mean, the first few years of life. So we start to set and ingrain in them the philosophies that we believe in, so that they kind of grow in that environment. This is the soil, it's the good stuff. We put nutrients in our soil. This is not that old hard Arizona clay dirt outside. We put the best water in it. We try and put the best nutrients in, because we know that you know, it's a tougher world out there. It's not what we're, you know, growing up in the 80s or early 90s or whatever. It's a different world. So you need to be more aware of the power and impact of mindsets. If we can build, you know, kids with strong mindsets at a young age, they're going to be that much more effective when they go out into the world.
What you guys do is freaking awesome. However, however, the only thing that makes that work is if you guys also do it yourself.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because they see you.
The thing is, one of the biggest things that we focus on right now is the strength is in your routine. The strength is in your routine. And so Drew and I have a very strong routine. And so we're starting to watch our kids, and they're starting to enact our routines. And so the younger or the older one will come out and he'll say, okay, exercise time, you know, or he has to do this. And he has 7 things he has to do every morning before he can have TV or any treat or anything. 7 things. And I don't care if it's Sunday, I don't care if it's Saturday, it doesn't matter the day of the week. You do your 7 things. Why? And he knows the strength is in your routine. The strength is in your routine. The strength is in your routine. So you have to embody it first. You have to do it. You have to tell yourself the strength is in the routine. Because there's days when I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to get up and work out right now. Thank God he's there next to me going, the strength is in your routine. Let's go.
It's time.
And self-talk is one of those things that is vital to every aspect of your life. And it's one of those things that most of you motherfuckers suck at. Self-talk, we are horrible at self-talk. Nobody talks to you worse than you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. Even if you're in a abusive relationship where your partner is always talking down to you, even then you still talk worse to yourself because that's why you even allow this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why every time we come here, the reason why people hate asking me for real estate advice is because it always goes back to your mindset.
Yeah.
It always goes back to your programming. It always goes back to how you work here. And you know what? I have a student. You've met him, Ivan, and he's a great guy, and he's been wanting to get into real estate. And I've been telling him, and he was just like, "Oh, you motherfucker! How do I do this? Where do I get? What's the best way? This way or that way?" And I'm like,
Yeah, the
just calm
details
down.
instead of the concept.
Right.
So I'm like, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Here's what you need to do. You need to come to my mastermind meetings on Tuesday. You need to read these books. You need to listen to these CDs, and you really need to focus on that. Yeah, but what about real estate? And I'm like, yeah, you'll get to real estate eventually.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter.
Right.
He just sold his first wholesale deal. Yeah.
Yeah, Byron.
And the only difference between back then and now is that now he's taking personal development more seriously.
That's right.
He's not at the level that I'm at or we're at, but he's taking it more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And just that shift completely changed it. That's why when people come to me, like I had somebody come up to me last week and he's like, "Hey man, I want to talk to you about real estate. Cool, come to my house, we'll smoke, we'll talk." So we're sitting there, yeah, we'll smoke, we'll talk, right? I got my medicinal card, what do you want? So anyway, he's sitting there. I had an 1.5 hour long conversation, and most of it was, are you sure? Do you even want to do real estate? Like, you should take some time to figure out who the fuck you are first and what it is that you want, and not just thinking that this is what you want to do. Because I can give you the right information, but if you're not in the right mindset, you're going to mess yourself up.
Yeah.
And as you're working, as you're progressing in this business, you start learning that everything stems from you.
Yeah.
Every good deal and every bad deal stems from you.
That's right.
And then you start noticing that, fuck, this applies to other aspects of my life. This is my relationship.
Yeah.
This is my relationship with my kids. This is my relationship to money. This is my relationship to food. That's kind of what got me into the whole keto kick myself, because I'm a pretty healthy guy, even though I'm overweight. I'm not gassed out on the mountain. We do all the time. We're talking up the whole way up the mountain. It's not like I'm out of shape, but I'm out of shape.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not like I have an issue going and working out. I had an issue just eating like crap.
Sure.
So that was one of the areas of my life, 2018, was I want to have more self-discipline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that, that's when I kind of started noticing, I'm like, look, everything I eat has rice, beans, tortillas, bread, potatoes, pasta, all the sweets. Like, yeah. Then the thing is, I was big on like, my snack foods were always cookies and like doughy, sugary, bready stuff, right?
Yeah.
So now that I decided to do this, it was a way for me to test in different aspects of my life, but self-control. So now the diet allows me to exercise self-control, which then I turn to other aspects of my life. But once you become in business and real estate in general, you start noticing that everything is kind of pointing the camera back at you. So we got the, David Sandoval says, I like that, strike this in your routine. Yep. And guys, you find motivation anywhere that you go. I mentioned this before, I think 2 weeks ago, but it was, it gets easier every day, but you have to do it every day, and that's the hard part, but I promise you that it gets easier. I saw it on an animated show on Netflix that is a comedy show about a guy who's a fucking horse. But I got the message, right? I got the message that came from it. BoJack Horseman, hilarious. It's weird, but hilarious, just effing hilarious. I promise you. I promise
one
you.
thing you said, you know, you were talking about how we are the ones that talk the worst to ourselves.
Yes.
And so there was one day, so over from February 22nd last year all the way forever, I was every morning on the mountain. And one day I said to one of my girlfriends, I was like, I'll meet you for your routine and go do workout with you at 4:30. And I had never slept in, and I mean sleep in, right? I had never woke up past like 4:10 or 3:45 in the morning. And so then that day when I was supposed to meet her, I woke up at 4:40 and I was supposed to be there at 4:30. And man, I was beating myself up. I was just going hard on myself, hard. And Drew happened to wake up or hear me or something, and he said to me, he said, you know what you told me the other day? He said, you said, see yourself through kind eyes. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to remind you, see yourself through kind eyes. I didn't do anything mean. I wasn't intentionally messing it up. I can go back and, you know, meet again. But it changed. And now I say that phrase all the time because it's constant. If I'm beating myself up, I can catch it. And then I can say, Risha, see yourself through kind eyes. You are a good person. You are not doing anything like terrible. You know, and start saying all the nice things about yourself, and just remember, nobody else would talk to you like that. So
the one that I've been saying more than anything here is things don't always happen the way that we want them, but they happen the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And that actually prevents me from beating myself up.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a bad business deal, whether it's a bad, you know, relationship type thing, whether it's some, you know, whatever situation that I put myself into. Things don't happen the way that I want them, but they happen the way that I'm supposed to. And a lot of that helps me stop myself from, Brian, you're so stupid. Why the fuck did you do that? Why would you trust this person? Why would you do a deal with this person? Blah, blah, blah. You knew better. You saw the signs.
Yeah.
You already knew. So, but it just kind of reiterates that. We got a Pam Bauer in the house. Hey, Pam, thanks for joining us here. We got Rafael Rosado who says, hi, guys. I'm from Brooklyn. Last time that happened, my phone died. And yeah, it actually thing.
Here.
Is that still going?
Keep it rolling, yeah.
Whatever, fuck it. Alright, so yeah, anyway,
we're on YouTube.
yes,
I guess I don't know that.
the people on YouTube will go to Facebook and then we'll reply to your answer over there. But anyway, just to answer that particular question, for Rafael, he says that he's making about $5,000 a month. I'm not sure if that's all cash flow or if he's got any type of loans or anything on that property, so I'm not sure which one of that is that. However, I'm assuming that he's saying that he wants to make more money. Yeah, which is what people normally do. Be careful what you wish for, Rafael. It's addicting to make more money. It's very, and it becomes a job. A month without really doing anything. Perfect.
I think my internet's out on this. I
How-
think
you
all
kept
internet
it-
went away.
I just saw your shit though. You shared it, and I just saw you waving by on Facebook.
Oh, weird.
I don't know how the fuck that. Oh well.